It's time for us to unveil our 2024 do not draft list. This is, and again,
great.
If you got Patrick Mahomes in the 78th round, like, we're not saying that.
Right.
But this is relative to where we think they're going to be drafted. Players, do we think that you should stay away at their projected ADP? And who is it for you, Adam Rank?
Oh, we're going to start with me?
Yep.
I'm going to go with Calvin Ridley. Again, going back to what I was saying earlier about the Doug Peterson offense, is that they really love to spread the football around. This isn't a knock on Calvin Ridley, but people really love Calvin Ridley. It's like people who really love bands. They're like, oh man, I love this band. Like, yeah, but I'll go see them for free, but I'm not gonna pay like a $300. But like me with like I spent a lot of money for Blink-182. My friends won't do that. So it's like the reverse of that. I just think that this offense has too much Christian Kirk, Travis Etienne. We could get Zay Jones into the mix. Who knows who they draft? So for me, the price is going to be too much, and I'm going to pass like I did this year.
Am I next?
That's you.
Okay. You ready,
boy.
Philadelphia fans?
They're coming
Whoa.
for you.
I'm not going to draft Jalen Hurts really high. I think he's going to be maybe your number one, maybe number two quarterback off the board for a couple of main reasons. Number one, their defense will improve. Right now, they're like the 29th ranked defense. That's difficult. You got to keep throwing the ball. Therefore, you'll have more points for Jalen Hurts. I think they get better on defense. Ergo, they won't have to throw as much. And number two, the tush push isn't going to work again next season as efficiently and effectively as it did this year. Defenses catch on, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
O-lines get older, and you're not going to get that same sort of force. So those rushing touchdowns, all 15 of them, again, tied for the most in the NFL.
Incredible.
That is insane, but you're probably not going to get those. This is not to say Jalen Hurts isn't a great quarterback or that the Eagles are going to be bad. In fact, I gave you a compliment, Eagles fans.
Yeah.
I said your defense is going to get better, which means your team will get better, which means your quarterback
They
is
should have
going
done
to
this
have to.
segment on Wednesday. So we didn't.
Yeah.
have to do that.
All what people
No,
heard was don't
get a
draft
close
Jalen
up.
Hurts.
Come on. You can say it. I don't care if you're at a sports bar and you can't hear me. I'm not drafting him.
Mine's far less controversial, but I'm staying in the same state. George Pickens. And I know we've made a lot the last couple of weeks about the whole, was it 30% of his numbers have come from 4 plays. But it basically just shows that he's really volatile. You'll have weeks where he'll get you 150 yards, and then he'll give you 30. I think he's got more games with fewer than 40 yards than he does with 100-yard games this season. Plus, who's going to be their quarterback next year? I mean, for all of the grumbling about Matt Canada, the Steelers were worse on offense, at least for a stretch, after they fired Matt Canada. There's just so many questions there. And wherever you have to draft George Pickens, I just don't want to deal with the up and down roll. I like roller coasters, just not on my fantasy team. That's all.
I'm going to take a position group because we love great offenses, especially in fantasy football, and you want pieces of those offenses. And we saw just how much of a revelation the C.J. Stroud Houston Texans were this year. But then look at their rushing touchdowns. They only had 9 of them total. So I'm not drafting the Texans running backs, whoever they are, next year. C.J. Stroud had 3 of those rushing touchdowns on his own. And the knock on him coming into the season was he wouldn't do that. That was wrong. And I think taking Texans running backs early might be wrong next year as well. Still ahead.